So relevant. So good. Hi Simon. Today we're talking about post-truth. What does the term post-truth mean to you?
Right. Well,
It doesn't matter if you've never heard of it.
yeah. Well, I hadn't heard about it very recently, but my understanding necessarily meaning facts anymore. Maybe it has a more, and I see this kind of untruth.
Absolutely. And do you think we're living in a period where authorities, institutions, all the old bastions of knowledge, things like that as a
So I suppose this has a lot to do with the current American president and the issues around that. And I don't know. I'm maybe a little bit more optimistic than some people. What Donald Trump is doing is kind of spurred people to defend the truth a bit more aggressively. You know, there's all these climate scientists who are saying no, this isn't right, and the Californian state government seems to be quite kind of standing up to him and saying, no, we don't. This is not like even if you say this is not what's happening. I think there's a lot of comedians who are now what were news channels. So there's news channels like CNN and that sort of thing, and they're struggling with this, but then the comedians seem to be telling a little bit more of what's going on. I sometimes find that's kind of
That's really interesting. That's potentially squeezing out in other ways through vessels that one mightn't necessarily expect. So where something like a traditional source of not as trusted, but
I think that's what I was trying to say. Not necessarily underground. Just it's kind of maybe the traditional news sources are finding it. That they don't seem to be able to work. They're trying to be objective because that's their job. And then all of a sudden, people like Seth Meyers and Stephen Colbert are just saying, "Hey, look, maybe we don't need to be gentle about this. Maybe this is wrong. Maybe we can say that. Maybe we can have an opinion." And I guess that is an opinion, and maybe that's not true either. But I don't know.
Absolutely.
I've drunk the Kool-Aid if that's the case.
Yeah. Great.
I guess ultimately is quite subjective, or I think it is. So kind of the subjective reality and the collective mentality of someone who was a pretty nasty guy, like Hitler or Stalin. If that was the direction this went, and recently I've been reading a bit about these things, and if sort of 15 to 20% of the population sort of move towards a certain trend or thought or habit, then often most of the rest of the population will follow. So that's a pretty critical kind of. So I suppose if somebody started saying to
my crumpled piece of paper. What do you think? Truth world. What do you think? I suppose, given that you mentioned before that you're coming from a more optimistic standpoint, you don't have a cynical view of the future necessarily.
No, not necessarily. Well, I suppose probably the more I think about it, the more I kind of cling to that idea that the truth is ultimately pretty subjective. Like we don't have a clear kind of right and wrong. Like it's not black and white. What the true is, it's ultimately quite And so I suppose the wrong direction. There's also, there's a lot of hope in that somebody could take that the right direction.
That's right.
That's my feeling. You could, if you can, good changes rather than bad changes. So, I think there's
that often sometimes it takes, like you were talking about dictators and that sort of thing before, you know, sometimes it takes somebody to stand up with quite extremist views in order for there to be a retaliation of sorts. And I think, you know, in Australia we don't see that so society, but I think it is becoming it's becoming closer to us. So there is I suppose, a degree of hope in the bite back or the, you know,
and it might be in the post. You know, you only have to look at countries that, you know, 30 years ago were perceived as, you know, really great, and all of a sudden they're kind of falling apart at the seams. Like I feel like, you know, the United Kingdom at the moment is really falling apart. You know, their NHS is stuffed, and you know, the Brexit thing, like it's all representative people who are just, you know, not happy with their lot in life and don't know what to do about it. And when we seem, as you know, it seems to me that behaviourally as humans we turn to change, and we don't necessarily care really what just anything will do, you know. Like if this isn't working, we'll try something else. It doesn't necessarily have to be that and a few other things that have come from recently.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I guess.
Okay, terrific. Thanks so much for talking with us. It was lovely.
All right, so I hope it helps.
Thank you.